So, I have put off talking about the coup for a while because, frankly, the stupidity of the entire situation just sends me into a flying rage. It's like when I see someone driving and is still wearing a mask, I just want to walk over and hawk smash the hood of their car. But there's been so much shit about it in the news cycle over the last couple of days, I just want to go full dongzo and plow a tank through the stupid thing. So Joe Biden decides to go full authoritarian mode and full retard, now wanting to mandate the vaccine for any businesses over 100 people. Is it any wonder why his economy is failing? Now he says it's not about freedom or personal choice. Wow, for once Joe is right in his miserable bloody life. It's not about freedom or personal choice, because if you mandate that, you don't have either. Saying it's about protecting yourself and those around you. No, it isn't. It's about control and a wealth transfer. And that statement is collectivist, which he doubles down on, saying we're going to protect the vaccinated from the unvaccinated. So you think the job of the federal government is to protect A from B, so much for uniting the country, you fucking buffoon. I do find that rather hilarious. The same people who are pro-abortion are also pro-vaccination mandates. Presumably the my body, my choice seems to only extend to not wanting something to inconvenience their life. But they have no problem wanting to harm yours so they feel safe. Fucking hypocrites. And this is coming from someone who's pro-choice, mind you. And that's never going to work, by the way. They're still pushing that pandemic of the unvaccinated crap, which is just total nonsense. And I will bet my bollocks the vaccinated hospitalizations are a hell of a lot higher than people realize. And there's a reason you don't see that in the mainstream news. If word got out that the case totals make the vaccine look impotent, they would lose money and credibility, and we can't have that. 3/4 of the country are vaccinated. We want more people vaccinated, they say, but they're flooding the country with thousands of unvaccinated illegals across the border, and pretty soon it'll be the Afghans fleeing the shit show the US left them in, so please spare us your bullshit narrative. But whatever. It's get the vaccine or face a weekly test. Again, this is how you know it's not about your health and protection. You can still get the virus if you've been vaccinated. So knowing that, you're going to make the vaccinated skip the test. Why? Especially if you idiots are promulgating this nonsensical narrative of, hospitalizations are all unvaccinated cases. And seeing as both people can spread it, the need for vaccination is then what exactly? This is after these dim-witted nitwits are planning on spending $2 billion on testing kits, saying so that every American, no matter their income, can access free and convenient tests. Tests are not convenient, you ask. They're an irritating hindrance and a waste of money. And it's not free either. You stole their money, and you are now imposing this burden on regular people. Perfect case for why taxation is theft, by the way. But the rapid testing kits. So, a review of 64 studies found the average correct prediction of testing accuracy is just over 75%, but only 51% in the second week of symptoms, and some as low as 34%, the highest being a South Korean firm, SD Biosensor, which was 88%. And then another study was done in April, 4 companies, Siemens and Medsan, Roche Diagnostics, and Abbott Laboratories, none of which were more accurate than 55% of the time, and Abbott Lab was only 44% accuracy. This is the kind of shit they're spending $2 billion on. Unbelievable, these people spend money like it's Skittles. But there is something about the testing that puzzles me. What is their standard bearer for the accuracy? Because presumably, you need to know with 100% certainty that someone is sick in order for that positive test result to be accurate. Because testing symptoms, which are incredibly generic and suggesting a positive result is accurately COVID, is sketchy at best. And the asymptomatic one is even worse. And considering asymptomatic spread is incredibly rare, apparently people need to be told healthy people with no symptoms whatsoever do not spread deathly viruses. Again, idiots. Which makes me question what the hell is even the point. But then Biden brings up the FDA approval, saying what more is there to wait for, what more is there to see. This is coming from the guy who said he wouldn't take the vaccine unless there was complete transparency. And it's been very obvious to anyone who isn't blind that they are very transparent about censoring anyone who is remotely skeptical about any of this, which shows you the disconnect between the elites and some members of the population. So let me spell it out for the idiots who can't quite connect the dots. In any given population, the masses appear to be idiots. Critical thinking is not the norm, it is the exception. It is a skill of the minority. And for whatever reason, be it luck, a good education, natural skepticism, good parenting, hell, good genes, who knows, If there is something that initiates that skepticism and government only adds to it, doing more is not going to quell their questioning. Because for as much as they don't trust the big pharma, they trust government even less. So government green-lighting a pet project from their second biggest lobbying contributor to justify further authoritarianism, that doesn't make people less skeptical, it just grows it. And it's definitely not helped by Fauci still being there. Like Bret Weinstein said, we now know he openly lied to Congress. He defied federal restriction on gain-of-function research. He is one of many responsible for COVID, millions of people getting infected. He's lying constantly with contradictory advice. He's been wrong consistently, and yet he's still there telling us how to be healthy. What the fuck is going on? But here's a funny thing I noticed a while ago. The biggest COVID skeptics are not the unvaccinated, it's the vaccinated. Because the unvaccinated do not give a fuck about the vaccination status of anyone. But the vaccinated lose their bloody minds over this, saying, oh, you don't have the right to get me sick, all of this dumb crap. If you're so confident in your precious little vaccine, what the hell are you so up in arms over? And don't give me this, who I care about other people. No, you don't. You just want to be seen as a cheerleading peasant for your side. Nah, it's because you suck and you're secretly scared, because you know that vaccine doesn't do jack shit. And then Joe Rogan catches COVID and the internet collectively loses its fucking mind. And Joe isn't vaccinated, he just chucked the kitchen sink at COVID. He took ivermectin, Z-Pak, prednisone, monoclonal antibodies, high doses of vitamin C. How the hell do I remember all of this? I watched the clip twice maybe. And you know when Joe Rogan says something that bucks the mainstream consensus, things are going to go wildly off the rails. It was fascinating. The moment he revealed he took ivermectin, you could see in real time the machinery of the cathedral begin to creak into life and the cogs go to work cranking out a narrative. And they went with horse dewormer. And ooh, people are overdosing on it, which is just a crock of shit. You see the phrase horse dewormer fall into the ether of the internet, and boom, spreads like wildfire. Suddenly, all of social media is abound with psychotically opinionated monkeys who are calling Joe Rogan an idiot because he took ivermectin. These people know nothing about Joe, and they know even less about ivermectin. They have no idea what the hell they're talking about, which you can see because their Neverland case studies are actually anything factual. Ivermectin is incredibly safe. It's got over 4 decades of research behind it, and it won a Nobel Prize in 2015, for heaven's sake. This is not some fringe drug, it's cheap and effective. And if it's going to hurt someone's wallet, well, that's the reason it's not going to receive glowingly positive reviews in the mainstream. It's that simple. But these demon-spawned Twitter bastards are openly wishing Joe to die off. That to me is a sign our society is kind of fucked up. If you're using the internet to openly wish someone should die because they took medicine you didn't even know existed up until this point, your life sucks. I saw Oscar De La Hoya, the boxer. He was in the hospital for COVID, and he's vaccinated. And he's laying there, sounding half dead, saying COVID is kicking his ass. And he's 6 or 7 years younger than Joe, and he's not in bad shape. But Joe, because he's got a huge platform and talks to multiple real scientific experts away from the mainstream bollocks, he's stocked up. And he knew what to do should he get sick, and now he's good to go. He said he was only bad for 1 day. By the second day, he was feeling much better. The third, he's up and at him. And the fact that Joe got better so fast without the stupid vaccine has them seething in rage. It is fantastic. But notice, no one talks about why Joe was able to overcome COVID so quickly in the first place. There isn't a single mention anywhere about what you can do to mitigate the effects of COVID. There is no talk anywhere in the mainstream of go outside, get vitamin D, play sports, eat well, lose weight. There is none of that. No one wants to mention, I think about 80% of all the cases of people who are hospitalized are overweight. No, if you point that out, some fat blue-haired lesbian will spawn and call you fatphobic or some shit like that. Pretty rich coming from a pile of wankers who tell you to follow the science. These people don't follow the science, they listen to late-night wannabe comedians joke about this shit. Fucking Jimmy Kimmel, who's never heard of ivermectin prior to reading it from a fucking script, by the way. The man is a moron, he knows nothing about medicine, or even how treatment works, evidently. And his audience are trained clapping seals, for heaven's sakes. They would clap for that mong if he came out and smeared shit on his face and said Black Lives Matter. He came out and said people who aren't vaccinated don't deserve medical treatment. If you have a heart attack and you aren't vaccinated, you should die off. And people clap that. This is coming from the guy who used his kid to peddle the message of healthcare should be a right for everyone. But now fuck that. What the fuck does a heart attack treatment have to do with the vaccine? You're much more likely to have heart problems if you've taken the vaccine, actually, especially if you're under 30. Quite a few studies have shown that. But anyway, we're just going to ignore that one because, facts are dangerous and all. But even for COVID, vaccinated or not, you're still going to get the same treatment, you dumb fuck noodle. And then he took a shot at the big pharma skeptics, saying, oh, ivermectin is also made by a big pharma company. Let me explain this to you, you fucking idiot. If a company produces two products, right? And product B is more expensive than product A, and it makes them more money, guess which product they're going to promote? Ivermectin is not politicized. Well, not yet anyway. It's not mandated. It has 40 years of research. It's shown to be safe and effective. And it won a Nobel Prize. COVID-19 hasn't even been around for 40 months, let alone the bloody research. And no one has any idea of the long-term side effects. And lastly, no one actually knows if that vaccine is effective. Oh, there's less people in hospital. That doesn't mean anything. Could be the virus is mutating and it gets more transmissible but weaker, which would explain some spike in cases but less hospitalization. There's natural immunity, which no one is talking about anymore. But oh yes, the vaccines are so effective. They're so effective that you need a booster shot every 6 fucking months. This is just an insanely desperate attempt for the state to keep emergency powers. That's all it is. And that's all for today. Until next time.